안녕하세요. 원서 있는 고양이 제니예요. 오늘은 해리포터 3권 해리포터 and the Prisoner of Azkaban Chapter 3 있던 거 마저 읽어보도록 할게요. 냐옹. Stan wobbled the away reluctantly, and Harry leaned against the window of the night bus, feeling worse than ever. He couldn't help imagining what Stan might be telling his passengers a few nights' time. Hear about that Harry Potter? Beloved's aunt? The enemy in the first and ran. He was trying to run for it. Harry, had broken wizard law just like Sirius Black. Was inflating Aunt Marge bad enough to land him in Azkaban? Harry didn't know anything about the wizard prison, though everyone had ever heard or speak of it did so in the same fearful tone. Harry, the Hogwarts gamekeeper, had spent 2 months there only last year. Harry wouldn't soon because the look of terror on Harry's face and been told where he's going, and Hagrid was one of the bravest people Harry knew. The night bus rolled through the darkness, scattering bushes and borrowed telephone boxes and trees, and Harry lay restlessly and miserable on his feather bed. After a while, Stan remembered that Harry had paid for hot chocolate, but poured it all over his pillow when the bustle moved abruptly from Anglesey to Aberdeen. One by one, the wizards and trees in dressing gowns and slippers descended in awful force to leave the bus. They all looked very pleased to go. Finally, Harry was the only passenger left. "Right then, Neville," said Stan, clapping his hands. "Whereabouts in London?" "Diagon Alley," said Harry. "Right out," said Stan. "All right then." Bang! They were thundering along. Charing Cross roared, and Harry sat up on what buildings and benches, squeezing himself out of the night bus's way. The sky was getting a little lighted, and he would lie low a couple of hours, go to Gringotts the moment it opened, then set off where he didn't know. Ernst slammed on the brakes, and the night bus skidded to a halt in front of the small and shabby-looking pub, a leaky cauldron, behind which lay the magical entrance diagonally. "Thanks," said Harry suddenly. He turned down the steps, and Harry Stan lowered his trunk and headed his cage onto the pavement. "Well," said Harry, "bye then." But Stan wasn't paying attention. Still standing in the doorway to the bus, he was goggling at the shadowy entrance to the leaky cauldron. "There you are, Harry," said a voice. Before Harry could turn, he felt a hand on his shoulder. At the same time, Sam shouted, "Blimey, Ern, come here, come here!" Harry looked up at the owner of the hand on his shoulder and felt a bucket full of ice cascade into his stomach. He had walked right into Cornelius Fudge, the Ministry of Magic himself. Stan leapt onto the pavement beside them. "What did you call, Neville, Minister?" he said excitedly. Fudge, the portly little man in a long pinstripe cloak, looked cold and exhausted. "Neville?" he repeated, frowning. "This is Harry Potter." "I knew it," said Stan, shouting gleefully. Ern! Guess who Neville is, Ern? It's Harry Potter! I can see his scar." "Yes," said Fudge testily. "Well, I'm very glad a night bus picked Harry up, but he and I just step inside the leaky cauldron now." Fudge increased the pressure on Harry's shoulder, and Harry found himself being steered inside the pub. A stooping figure wearing a lantern appeared through the door behind the bar. It was Tom, the wizened, toothless landlord. "You're good, mister," said Tom. "Will you be wanting anything, beer?" "Brandy." "Where's a pot of tea?" said Fudge, who still hadn't let go of Harry. There was a loud scraping and puffing from behind them, and Stan and Ern appeared, carrying Harry's trunk and Hedwig's cage, and looking around excitedly. "Oh, come, you didn't tell us who you are, Neville," said Stan, beaming at Harry, where Ernest's honest face peered anxiously at Stan's shoulder. "And a private part of his, Tom," said Fudge pointedly. "Bye," said Harry sat miserable to Stan and Ern, as Tom beckoned Fudge towards the passage to light the bar. "Bye, Neville," called Stan. Fudge merged Harry along the narrow passage up to Tom's lantern, and then into a small pillow. Tom kicked his pillows, fire burst into light in the grate, and he bade himself up the room. "Sit down, Harry," said Fudge, indicating a chair by the fire. Harry sat down, feeling goosebumps rising up his arms despite the glow of the fire. Fudge took up his pinstriped cloak and tossed it aside, then hitched up the trousers Bottlewind's group and sat down at opposite Harry. "I am Cornelius Fudge, Harry, the mystery of magic." Harry already knew this, of course. He was seen partially before, as Fudge had been wearing his father's invisibility cloak at the time. Fudge wasn't to know that. Tom the innkeeper reappeared, wearing an apron over his nightshirt and bearing a tray of tea and compass. Pressed the table and paid from Fudge and Harry, and left the pillow, closing the door behind him. "Well, Harry," said Fudge, pouring out tea, "you've had us all in the right flap, I don't mind telling you. Running away from your aunt and uncle's house like that? I started to think. But you're safe, that's what matters." Fudge buttered himself a crumpet and pushed the plate towards Harry. "Eat, Harry, you look dead on your feet. Now then, you will be pleased to hear that Pippa deals at the unfortunate blowing up of Mr. Marjorie Dursley. 2 members of the Accidental Magic Repression Department were dispatched to Privet Drive a few hours ago. His Dursley has been punctured, and her memory has been modified. She has no recollection at all, so that's that, and no harm done." Fudge smiled at Harry all over the rim of his teacup, rather like an uncle surveying a favorite nephew. Harry, who couldn't believe his ears, opened his mouth to speak, couldn't think of anything to say, and closed it again. "Ah, you're worrying about the reaction of your aunt and uncle?" said Fudge. "Well, I won't deny they're extremely angry, Harry, but they're prepared to take you back next summer as long as you stay at Hogwarts for the Christmas and Easter holidays." Harry unstuck his throat. "I always stay at Hogwarts for the Christmas and Easter holidays," he said, "and I don't ever want to go back to Privet Drive." No, I'm sure you'll feel differently once you come down," said Fudge in a worried tone. "There they are, your family after all, and I'm sure you're fond of each other. Very deep down." It didn't occur to Harry to put Fudge right. He was still waiting here what was going to happen to him now. "So all that remains," said Fudge, now buttering himself a second crumpet, "is to decide where we're going to spend the last 2 weeks to go holidays. I suggest you come here at the Wicked Cauldron. And hang on," blurted Harry, "what about my punishment?" Fudge blinked. "Punishment? I read the law," Harry said. "The decree for the restriction under is wizardly." "Oh, my dear boy, we're going to show punishment a little thing like that," cried Fudge, waving his crumpet impatiently. "It was an accident. We don't send people to Azkaban just for blowing up their aunts." But Dick didn't tell him at all that Harry's past dealings with the mystery and magic. Last year, I got an official warning just because a house elf smashed a pudding in my uncle's house, said Harry, frowning. The Ministry of Magic said I'll be expelled from Hogwarts if there was any more magic there. Unless Harry's eyes were deceiving him, Fudge was suddenly looking awkward. Circumstances change, Harry. We have to take into account in the present climate. Surely you don't want to be expelled? Of course I don't, said Harry. Well then, what's all the fuss about? Laughed Fudge airily. Other comfort, Harry. Well, I go and see Tom's got a room for you. Fudge strode up to the parlor, but Harry stared after him. Now has something extremely odd going on. Why had Fudge been waiting for him at the leaky cauldron, if not to punish him to what he'd done? And now Harry came to think of it, surely it wasn't usual for the Minister of Magic himself to get involved in matters of underage magic. Fudge came back, accompanied by an olden England. Room 11 is free, Harry, said Fudge. I think I'll be comfortable. Yeah, just run thing, and I'm sure you understand. I do what you're rendering of the old Muggle wonder, all right? Keep the diagonally, and I'll be back here before you dark each night. So you won't stand. Tom will be keeping an eye on you for me. Okay, said Harry slowly. But why? I don't want to use it again. Do we? Said Fudge with a hearty laugh. Don't know. This will be the way we were. And in them, Fudge cleared his throat loudly and picked up his fin-striped cloak. Oh well, I'll be off. Plenty to do, you know. Have you had any luck with black yet? Harry asked. Fudge's fingers slipped on the silver fastenings of the cloak. What's that? Oh, you've heard. Well, no, not yet, but in a matter of time. The Azkaban guards have never yet failed, and they're angrier than I have ever seen them. Fudge shuddered slightly. So I said goodbye. He held his hand and Harry shaking it, but a sudden idea. Minister, can I ask you something? Certainly, smiled Fudge. Well, third years at Hogwarts were allowed to visit Hogsmeade, but my aunt and uncle didn't sign admission form. Do you think you could? Fudge was looking uncomfortable. He said. No, I'm very sorry, Harry, but as I'm not your parent or guardian. But you're the Minister of Magic, said Harry eagerly. If you get me permission. No, I'm sorry, Harry, but rules are rules, said Fudge flatly. Perhaps you'll be able to visit Hogsmeade next year. In fact, I think it's best if you don't. Yes, well, I'll be off. Enjoy your stay, Harry. And with a last smile and shake of Harry's hand, Fudge left the room. Tom now went forward, beaming at Harry. If you follow me, Mr. Potter, she said, I'll be taking your things up. Harry followed Tom up a handsome wooden staircase to a door with a brass numbered 11 on it, which Tom unlocked it open for him. Inside was a very comfortable-looking bed, some highly polished oak furniture, cheerfully crackling fire, and perched on top of the wardrobe. Hedwig! Harry gasped. The snowy owl clicked her beak and fluttered down onto Harry's arm. Very smart owl you've got there, chuckled Tom. Arrived in 5 minutes after you did. If it's anything you need, Mr. Potter, don't hesitate to ask. He gave another bow and left. Harry sat in his bed for a long time, absent-mindedly stroking Hedwig. The sky outside the window was changing rapidly from deep velvety blue to cold steely gray and then slowly to pink shot with gold. Harry could hardly believe that it only left Privy Dried a few hours ago, but it wasn't expelled. Then he was now facing 2 completely dirty-free weeks. It's been a very weird night, Hagrid. He yawned, and without removing his glasses, he slumped back onto his pillows and fell asleep. 재미있게 들으셨다면 구독과 좋아요 꾹꾹 눌러주시고 다음 영상에서 만나요. 안녕!